Tonight's movie is Mirrors. A buddy of mine has greatly requested this movie all month long, and like a jerk, I've taken forever to watch it, but tonight I actually watched it. So, Kiefer Sutherland, aka Jack Bauer, I don't know why, that's always what I want to call him now, ever since 24, takes a job as a security guard for a burnt down retail store, I guess is what it basically was. He is kind of on the tail end of being a cop and having killed somebody and being suspended and just kind of dealing with the aftermath of having killed somebody and going through alcoholism and everything like that, but still needing a job to support his family and everything like that. And the really weird thing about this place is it's a big department store. Like an insane asylum sized department store. And there's all these creepy mannequins all around and they're all burnt like crazy, but they're still pretty much there, which makes it kind of creepy. But the store has all these mirrors in it, and all the mirrors are pristine. And so you kind of start figuring out that there's something with the mirrors, something going on. We don't know what, but they're causing all these crazy things. Even just to start off the movie, first scene, you have this gentleman who was down in like the subway, comes across a mirror and is looking at one of the mirrors, and then all of a sudden the mirror cracks and the reflection of him picks up a chunk of the broken mirror and just starts slitting his throat. Even though the guy that's actually there just watching this reflection isn't doing it, his throat starts slitting and just blood throwing everywhere. Kiefer Sutherland is kind of poised with the task of figuring out what is causing this, and unfortunately people he loves are being affected by it. His sister, played by, I don't know who, blonde chick that I know her from stuff, but I can't think of her name, but post-editing Tony. Just the most brutal, like, oh dear God, scene that I've seen in a movie in a minute. So, I remember being a kid watching American History X, which, if you have kids, don't let them watch American History X, but I watched a lot of movies as a kid. And there's the whole curb stomping scene. This is pretty on par with that, or even The Grudge, I believe. It might have been the second Grudge. I think it was the first one, where the jaw just shredded off. Oh, this one is just super graphic. So she goes to take a bath, and she's looking in the mirror, kind of putting her hair up and everything like that, and walks away from the mirror, but she's still in the reflection of the mirror because her counterpart, mirror self, if you will, is still standing there watching her. And so she goes and sits down in the bathtub, relaxes, and then the mirror version of herself just decides to rip her jaw off, like just straight, and just shreds. And she's in the bathtub, and this just starts happening to her. She's freaking out, flying all over the place, blood going everywhere. And it was just so graphic. Like, holy hell. And pretty like realistic looking too. So I was really impressed with that because this movie is a little bit older, 2008 I believe. So for the CGI to be on point like that, phenomenal. Even just kind of moving further on in the movie and the climax of the movie, it definitely just keeps going, and it gets you really drawn in trying to figure out as well, like, what is causing all this. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that the reason that the mirror starts attacking the people's family members is because the mirror wants something. He's trying to figure out who this is and try to find stuff, and using his knowledge of being a past cop to be able to kind of do some detective work. And it always drives me nuts in movies where somebody is acting really crazy. And I mean, in reality, if somebody's acting crazy, we just assume that they're crazy. But nobody believes the crazy person until the shit hits the fan. And so he's acting really erratic, trying to figure all this stuff out. And he even goes and visits his wife's work, where she works in a medical facility of some form, and tries to see the body of the guy at the very beginning who slit his throat. And she doesn't believe him. She thinks he's just going off the deep end because of everything that happened with his cop job and everything like that. And then you just get this 180 from her later on in the movie where she's like, oh my God, you're right. I'm such an idiot. Well, no, duh. So I was kind of really impressed with the conclusion of this film. So you finally get the nun lady back into the creepy mirror room, and I was thinking like maybe she's gonna just straight up exorcise this demon because she's got god powers on her side now. And then she ends up just exploding into pink mist by shattered glass, which I thought was just so cool looking. Like, holy cow, I did not see that coming. And then she turns into this creepy demon thingy because this whole time what it was is they thought she had schizophrenia when really she was just possessed, and they trapped it in the mirrors, and that's why this whole thing happened. And then Kiefer Sutherland goes on this little like battle with the demon thing, and I don't know why, but he is such a terrible shot in this movie. I'm pretty sure this was after Jack Bauer, but oh boy. I just kept laughing about that because he missed a lot. And he goes through this like fight with her and everything like that, and ends up slamming her against the wall through a pipe and catching her on fire and all this stuff, and then getting her crushed by just giant rocks. And then he's doing this like super heroic, like running away from the explosions and the crumbling building out. And I was like, this is kind of cheesy, but okay, sure. And then like he gets crushed, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe he doesn't actually make it. And then there's a whole like scene after that where he's like arm reaches out of the rocks and he crawls out and walks out of the building. And I was like, of course, always got to be a happy ending for movies. And that's just how it is most of the time. And then what I thought was kind of weird is as he's walking out, like all these like EMS people are just walking past him. No one's like, hey, this dude's bleeding from his head and looks like he was probably in this building when it started to collapse. And so I thought that was kind of weird. But then the biggest twist that I didn't see coming, everything's backwards. And I just thought that was pretty nuts. And now he's in the mirror world. He's one of the spirits that got captured. So it kind of leaves me curious to whether the demon actually died. Because that was the whole thing, was that we were going to release a demon from the mirrors, or cleanse the demon from the mirrors is what the nun gal was supposed to do. And then that was supposed to stop everything. But it seems like that didn't happen. And the demon didn't actually die by being impaled, burned, and then crushed. And so now you still have this mirror world, and now Kiefer Sutherland is stuck in it. So I thought it was a cool little twist at the end that I didn't see coming. So for this one, because of just how crazy of a story it was, and I definitely was super interested in it the whole time, and like I said, how well some of the CGI things were done, the guy slitting his throat, the chick ripping her jaw open, I gotta go with a 10 on this one. This one's really good. This is one that I definitely need to add to my collection. I also did not find this one on any streaming sites, so I had to obtain a copy of it. But I will definitely be adding this one to my personal collection.